Lord, I come to you today with a heart weighed down by worry. The thoughts about my family's health circle in my mind like restless birds that never find rest. You see how I check on my children while they sleep, how I research symptoms late into the night, how fear grips my chest when someone mentions feeling unwell. God, I know you didn't give me a spirit of fear, but sometimes anxiety feels like the only language my heart speaks. I bring these worries to you now, raw and unfiltered, because you promised that I could cast all my anxieties upon you. The weight of responsibility for my loved one's well-being feels so heavy. Sometimes I wonder if I'm strong enough to carry it all. Please help me remember that I was never meant to carry this alone. God, when the doctor calls with test results, my heart pounds so hard I can barely hear their words. When my child has a fever that won't break, time stretches endlessly through the night. When my husband winces in pain but says it's nothing, fear whispers worst-case scenarios in my ear. You know how I memorize medication schedules, insurance details, and symptoms like preparing for battle. This constant vigilance exhausts me, Lord. The what-ifs steal my sleep and cloud my days with dread. I confess that sometimes I believe the lie that worry is the same as love, that if I worry enough, somehow I'm protecting them. Show me the difference between responsible care and fear-driven control. Teach me to love my family without letting anxiety become my master. Jesus, I remember how you touched the sick and they were healed. How the woman with the issue of blood just touched your garment and was made whole. How you called Lazarus from the grave when all hope seemed lost. I know these stories, yet fear still whispers that you might not do the same for us. Forgive my unbelief. When I imagine worst-case scenarios, remind me of your faithfulness throughout generations. When medical bills pile up and treatment seem uncertain, help me trust your provision. When I lie awake calculating risks and planning for emergencies, quiet my racing thoughts with your peace. I want to believe that you care for my family even more than I do, but sometimes that feels impossible to grasp. Lord, I confess that I often try to be the savior of my family. I research every symptom, monitor every medication, coordinate every appointment as if their health depends entirely on my vigilance. The pressure crushes me. I know this isn't what you intended. You are the great physician, not me. You are the sustainer of life, not me. You hold my loved ones in your hands even when I'm not watching, even when I'm sleeping, even when I miss something important. Forgive me for trying to take your place. Forgive me for believing the lie that their well-being rests solely on my shoulders. Help me to do my part with wisdom, then surrender the outcomes to you with trust. God, I think of the mothers in Scripture who brought their children to you for healing. I think of the fathers who carried their sons and daughters for miles just to lay them at your feet. I understand their desperation. I feel it too when someone I love is suffering. That helpless feeling that drives me to my knees. The tears that come unbidden when no one is watching. You see it all. You collect each tear in your bottle. When medical terms I don't understand fill conversation with doctors, when treatment options seem limited or risky, when progress is slower than hoped, in these moments, I need your wisdom. I need your perspective that sees beyond this moment to the bigger picture of our lives. Lord, anxiety about my family's health affects every part of me. My shoulders tense, my stomach knots, my thoughts race, and my patience thins. I snap at those I love most because fear has me in its grip. I obsess over details and miss the joy of the present moment. This is not the abundant life you promised. This is not the peace that passes understanding. I want to be fully present with my family instead of mentally cataloging symptoms or planning for emergencies. I want to enjoy our time together without the shadow of what-ifs. I want to trust you enough to laugh freely, to sleep soundly, to breathe deeply. Renew my mind, God. Transform how I think about health, about control, about your goodness. Jesus, you know what it's like to watch someone you love suffer. You wept at Lazarus's tomb even knowing you would raise him. You understand the human heart with all its attachments and fears. When my child is in pain and I would do anything to take it away, you understand. When I feel helpless in the face of a loved one's chronic condition, you understand. When I'm exhausted from caregiving but can't rest because worry keeps me alert, you understand. There is comfort in being fully known by you. There is relief in bringing these raw emotions to someone who doesn't judge me for them or offer platitudes. You meet me in this place of fear with compassion. God, your word says that perfect love casts out fear. I want to experience that transformation. I want love to be stronger than my anxiety. When I check on my sleeping children one too many times, replace fear with trust in your watchful care. When I Google symptoms at 3 a.m., redirect my attention to promises of your presence. When I catastrophize about the future, anchor me in the truth that you hold all our days. I know you haven't promised us perfect health or freedom from suffering, but you have promised to never leave us. You have promised that nothing can separate us from your love. Not sickness, not pain, not even death itself. Lord, I need practical help with this anxiety. When panic rises like a flood, teach me to breathe deeply and remember your presence. When my mind races with worst-case scenarios, show me how to take those thoughts captive. When my body tenses with stress, remind me to release that tension to you. I need your help to distinguish between productive concern and destructive worry. I need wisdom to know when to act and when to wait. I need discernment to recognize the difference between intuition and fear. Most of all, I need courage to face whatever comes, knowing that you walk with us through every valley, every diagnosis, every treatment, every uncertainty. Lord, I pray for my family's health with both surrender and hope. I ask for your healing touch on their bodies, the obvious symptoms and the hidden imbalances. I pray for their immune systems to function as you designed them. I pray for their cells to regenerate, for inflammation to subside, for pain to be managed, for sleep to be restorative. I pray for wisdom for their healthcare providers, accurate diagnoses, effective treatments, compassionate care. I pray for breakthroughs in medicine that might help their specific conditions. I pray for access to the care they need without financial strain. I pray for their mental health as they navigate physical challenges. For those watching, there's a special ebook in our pinned comment called Don't Think, Trust and Surrender that can help ease anxiety symptoms about family health concerns. Remember, this complements but doesn't replace professional guidance. The practical exercises inside have helped thousands of mothers find peace even in uncertain health situations. God, I confess that sometimes I blame myself for my family's health problems. I wonder if I fed them the wrong foods, exposed them to the wrong environments, passed down the wrong genes, missed important warning signs. This guilt compounds my anxiety and steals my peace. You know I've done my best with the knowledge I had at each moment. You see my intentions even when my actions were imperfect. Please free me from this burden of false responsibility. Help me to learn what I can from the past without dwelling there. Give me wisdom for the present without the weight of shame. Show me how to move forward with both vigilance and freedom. Lord, I pray for balance in how I approach my family's health. Save me from the extremes of obsession on one hand and neglect on the other. Help me to be appropriately concerned without being consumed by worry. Guide me to be proactive without being paranoid. Teach me to research without falling down internet rabbit holes of fear. Show me how to prepare for possibilities without projecting disaster. I want to steward my family's health with wisdom and faith, not with fear and control. I want to model for my children a healthy relationship with their bodies, gratitude for what works well, compassion for what doesn't, and trust in your care through it all. Jesus, when you walked this earth, people flocked to you for healing. They brought their sick children, their aging parents, their own broken bodies. You never turned them away. You never shamed them for seeking help. You responded with compassion and power. I come with that same desperate hope, bringing my family's health concerns to you. I know that sometimes you heal instantly, sometimes gradually through medicine and treatment, sometimes through the body's amazing ability to repair itself, and sometimes you heal by taking us home to heaven where there is no more sickness or pain. I trust your methods and your timing, even when I don't understand them. God, anxiety about my family's health can be so isolating. I feel like no one else understands the weight I carry, the constant vigilance, the middle-of-the-night fears. Connect me with others who walk similar paths. Give me the courage to be vulnerable about my struggles instead of presenting a perfect facade. Show me how to accept help when it's offered. Remind me that you designed us to live in community, to bear one another's burdens. When I'm tempted to withdraw because explaining medical situations feels exhausting, give me discernment about who is safe to share with. Bring supportive, understanding people into our lives who can walk alongside us without judgment or simplistic advice. Lord, I pray for my own health too, because I can't care for my family if I'm depleted. When I put everyone else's needs before my own, gently remind me that self-care isn't selfish. When I neglect sleep, nutrition, or exercise because I'm too busy worrying about everyone else, nudge me back to balance. When stress compromises my immune system, help me recognize the warning signs before I crash. Give me permission to rest without guilt. Show me that taking care of myself is part of taking care of my family. I want to model healthy boundaries and self-compassion for my children, not self-neglect disguised as sacrifice. God, I pray for perspective when anxiety about health consumes me. Remind me that while health concerns are real and valid, they don't define our family's story. Help me see beyond medical charts and diagnosis codes to the beautiful, complex people you created my loved ones to be. When a health issue threatens to become our entire identity, broaden my vision. Help me nurture my family's spirits and relationships even while tending to their bodies. Show me how to create moments of joy and connection despite health challenges. Teach me to celebrate small victories, good days, and simple pleasures rather than focusing only on problems and symptoms. Jesus, you promised abundant life, but sometimes health struggles make that promise seem distant. Show me what abundance looks like even in the midst of physical limitations or chronic conditions. When pain or illness restricts what my loved ones can do, open our eyes to new possibilities, new gifts, new ways of experiencing your goodness. Help us adapt without becoming bitter. Give us creativity to modify traditions and activities rather than abandoning them. When I'm tempted to put life on hold until health improves, remind me that each day is precious regardless of its challenges. Show us how to live fully even when we can't live perfectly. Lord, anxiety about my family's health often stems from my deep love for them and my desire to protect them from suffering. Transform that anxious love into something more powerful and peaceful. When I hover and micromanage out of fear, teach me to step back and trust. When I try to control outcomes that aren't mine to control, help me surrender. When I mistake worry for care, show me more effective ways to express my love. Replace my fearful hypervigilance with attentive presence. Replace my anxious questioning with compassionate listening. Replace my nervous energy with calm strength. I want my love to be a shelter for my family, not another burden they must carry. God, I pray for wisdom in practical matters related to my family's health. Guide our decisions about doctors, treatments, insurance, finances, and daily routines. When options are unclear and opinions conflict, grant us discernment. When information overwhelms us, help us filter what's truly important. When we face difficult choices with no perfect answers, give us peace about the path we choose. When we need to advocate for appropriate care, give us courage and clarity. When we need to set boundaries with well-meaning but unhelpful advice, give us gracious firmness. In all these practical matters that impact our health journey, I ask for your wisdom that is, first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason. Lord, I pray for the spiritual health of my family even as I worry about their physical health. Sometimes health crises strengthen faith, and sometimes they challenge it. Walk with each of my loved ones through their own spiritual journey related to their health. For those who question your goodness because of their suffering, reveal yourself in ways they can recognize. For those who feel abandoned by you, demonstrate your faithful presence. For those who blame themselves for their condition, speak your grace into their hearts. For those who have built their identity on physical capability, help them discover deeper sources of worth. May our health challenges draw us closer to you rather than pushing us away. God, I pray against the lie that sickness is always the result of sin or lack of faith. This toxic belief adds shame to suffering and has wounded so many hearts. If this lie has taken root in my thinking or my family's, uproot it completely. Replace it with the truth that we live in fallen bodies in a fallen world, that rain falls on the just and unjust alike, that your beloved Son himself suffered physically. Free us from the burden of wondering what we did wrong to deserve illness. Instead, help us focus on how you walk with us through every valley, how you redeem every painful circumstance, how you work all things together for good for those who love you. Lord, when anxiety about my family's health threatens to overwhelm me, teach me to lament honestly. The Psalms show me that I can bring my raw emotions to you. My fear, my anger, my disappointment, my exhaustion. I don't need to pretend to be stronger than I am or more spiritual than I feel. Like David, I can cry out, "How long, O Lord?" Like Jesus in Gethsemane, I can admit when my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow. This honest expression isn't a lack of faith. It is faith, believing that you can handle my true feelings and that you draw near to the brokenhearted. Thank you for receiving my lament without judgment and for sitting with me in my pain. God, I pray for my family members who serve as caregivers. Whether to children with health needs, to aging parents, or to spouses with chronic conditions. The caregiver role can be both sacred and exhausting. Give them supernatural strength for each day's challenges. Protect them from compassion fatigue and burnout. Help them find moments of rest and restoration even within demanding schedules. Surround them with practical support. People who don't just say, "Let me know if you need anything," but who show up with specific help. Remind caregivers that their worth isn't measured by perfect care but by faithful presence. May they feel your presence especially tangibly in lonely moments of service. Lord, I pray for my children's relationship with their bodies as they grow. When health challenges affect their development or activities, help them process their emotions in healthy ways. Guard them against comparing their bodies or abilities to others. Help me know how to talk about health concerns without transferring my anxiety to them. Show me how to validate their feelings while still nurturing resilience. Give them age-appropriate understanding of their health without overwhelming them with information or responsibility. Most of all, help them know that their worth comes from being your beloved creation, not from physical perfection or achievement. May they treat their bodies with respect and care, whatever their health status. Jesus, you said that in this world we would have trouble, but to take heart because you have overcome the world. When health troubles threaten to defeat us, remind us of your victory. When medical battles seem unwinnable, remind us that the ultimate war is already won. Death and disease do not have the final word. You do. This perspective doesn't minimize our present suffering, but it does place it within the larger story of redemption. Help us to grieve what needs grieving, to fight what needs fighting, and to accept what needs accepting. All with the confidence that comes from knowing how the story ends. Nothing we face is beyond your redemptive power. God, I pray for the marriages in our family that face the strain of health challenges. When spouses become caregivers, help them maintain connection beyond the patient-caregiver dynamic. When medical bills create financial stress, strengthen their unity in facing difficult decisions. When one partner carries more household responsibility due to the other's illness, prevent resentment from taking root. When intimacy changes because of health limitations, inspire creative new ways to express love. When communication suffers under the weight of health worries, open pathways for honest, grace-filled conversation. Protect these marriages from the statistical vulnerability that health crises create. May they emerge stronger through the refining fire of these challenges. Lord, I pray for times of respite from health-related anxiety. Grant us days when medical concerns recede to the background and we can simply enjoy being together. Help us create memories that aren't centered around doctor visits or symptoms. Show us how to celebrate good days without fear of jinxing them. Teach us to be fully present in moments of reprieve rather than bracing for the next crisis. When health allows, help us seize opportunities for adventure, for play, for normal family experiences. These breaks from the weight of health concerns aren't frivolous. They're essential for our well-being. They remind us that while health challenges are part of our story, they don't define us completely. God, I pray for my response when well-meaning people offer health advice or share stories about similar conditions. Give me discernment to recognize helpful information versus anxiety-producing speculation. Grant me patience with those who don't understand our situation but genuinely want to help. Give me gracious boundaries with those whose comments increase my worry rather than my wisdom. Help me filter input through your truth rather than absorbing every opinion or anecdote. When someone's words trigger my anxiety, teach me to pause and pray before reacting. May I remain open to potential help without becoming overwhelmed by conflicting advice. Give me confidence in the path you've led us to follow. Lord, I pray about the financial aspects of health concerns that add another layer of anxiety. When medical bills pile up, show us resources we haven't considered. When insurance denies coverage for necessary treatments, give us persistence and wisdom in appealing. When we face impossible choices between health needs and other essential expenses, make a way where there seems to be no way. When financial stress compounds health stress, protect our mental well-being from collapse under the weight. Provide for us as you promised, though your provision may come through channels we didn't expect. Help us steward our resources wisely while remembering that our ultimate security comes from you, not from financial stability. Jesus, you experienced physical suffering in your own body. You know what pain feels like, what weakness feels like, what limitation feels like. This means you understand my family's health struggles from the inside, not just as a distant observer. When my loved ones suffer, I find comfort knowing that you suffered too. You're not a God who remains aloof from our physical reality but one who entered fully into it. When we cry out in pain, you recognize that cry from your own experience. When we feel that no one understands, you do. Thank you for this profound solidarity with our human condition. Your wounds give meaning to ours. Your resurrection gives hope for our ultimate healing. God, I pray for the siblings of children with health needs in our family. These brothers and sisters often carry unseen burdens. Worry about their sibling, less parental attention due to medical demands, responsibility beyond their years, and complex emotions they may not know how to express. Help me see and validate their experience even while managing health crises. Give them age-appropriate ways to understand and process the family situation. Protect them from feeling that their needs are less important. Create special time for them that isn't overshadowed by medical concerns. Surround them with supportive adults who can provide attention when parents are stretched thin. May they develop compassion without carrying inappropriate burdens. Lord, I pray for my family's mental health as we navigate physical health challenges. The two are so interconnected. Chronic physical conditions often trigger depression or anxiety, while mental health affects physical healing. Help us attend to both with equal care. Remove the stigma that sometimes makes mental health support harder to seek than physical treatment. When medical trauma creates lasting psychological effects, lead us to appropriate resources for healing. When the stress of health management affects our emotional well-being, show us healthy coping strategies. May we create family patterns that support both mind and body, recognizing that true health encompasses our whole being: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. God, I pray for the extended family members and friends who form our support network. Thank you for each person who has shown up with meals, childcare, hospital visits, prayer, financial help, or simply their caring presence. Bless them abundantly for their kindness. For those who have disappeared because our health situations made them uncomfortable, I pray for understanding rather than bitterness. For those who want to help but don't know how, give us courage to communicate specific needs. For those who have walked similar paths and offer their hard-earned wisdom, I'm especially grateful. Strengthen these community bonds that sustain us when health challenges would otherwise isolate us. Lord, I pray about the information overload that comes with managing family health concerns. The internet offers endless research possibilities, some helpful and some harmful to my peace of mind. Medical terminology can be overwhelming, treatment options confusing, and prognosis uncertain. When I'm tempted to research obsessively, help me set healthy boundaries. When contradictory information increases my anxiety, guide me to reliable sources. When statistics frighten me, remind me that my loved ones are individuals, not numbers. Give me wisdom to be appropriately informed without becoming paralyzed by information. Help me partner effectively with healthcare providers without trying to become an expert in everything. Jesus, you often ask people, "What do you want me to do for you?" before healing them. This question honors their agency and specific desires. I want to bring my specific requests about my family's health to you with both boldness and surrender. I ask for specific health needs, while trusting your wisdom if your answer differs from my request. I believe in your power to heal instantly, and I also believe in your presence through prolonged health journeys. I ask for clear diagnosis when conditions are mysterious, for effective treatment when paths are established, for miraculous intervention when medicine reaches its limits, and for peaceful acceptance when healing doesn't come in the forms we expected. God, I pray for the healthcare professionals who treat my family members. Give them wisdom beyond their training, intuition beyond their experience, and compassion beyond their job descriptions. When they're overworked and overwhelmed by a broken healthcare system, sustain their well-being and calling. When they face diagnostic puzzles, illuminate connections they might otherwise miss. When they deliver difficult news, give them both honesty and sensitivity. Help us build collaborative relationships with these professionals, respecting their expertise while appropriately advocating for our needs. Thank you for the gift of modern medicine, imperfect though it may be, and for those who have dedicated their lives to healing arts. Lord, I pray for my family's spiritual growth through health challenges. While I would never choose suffering, I recognize that some of life's most profound lessons come through its darkest valleys. Use these difficult experiences to deepen our compassion for others who suffer. Let our encounters with human fragility increase our appreciation for your strength. Transform our need for control into deeper trust in your sovereignty. As health concerns strip away less important matters, clarify our values and priorities. May we emerge from these trials with greater wisdom, more authentic faith, deeper relationships, and hearts more aligned with yours. Work your redemptive purpose even through circumstances we would not have chosen. God, I pray for the practical daily management of health concerns. When medication schedules, therapy appointments, dietary restrictions, and symptom monitoring fill our days, help us find sustainable rhythms. When health management threatens to consume all our time and energy, show us where boundaries are needed. When routines become overwhelming, inspire creative simplifications. When record-keeping becomes burdensome, provide organizational systems that serve us rather than stress us. When health tasks create family tension, foster cooperation and shared responsibility appropriate to each person's age and ability. May we steward health needs faithfully without allowing them to dominate every aspect of family life. Jesus, you often withdrew to quiet places to pray, modeling the importance of solitude with God even amid pressing needs. When health concerns create constant demands, help me find these essential moments of connection with you. When caregiving leaves little privacy or quiet, make even brief pauses refreshing to my soul. When my prayer feels reduced to desperate SOS signals, assure me that these count too. When I'm too exhausted or overwhelmed to find words, thank you that your Spirit intercedes with groans too deep for words. Draw me back to your presence not as another obligation, but as the source of living water when I'm parched from caring for others. Lord, I pray for my family's ability to plan for the future while living with health uncertainty. When conditions are unpredictable, help us hold plans loosely without abandoning hope for tomorrow. When we need to adjust dreams and expectations, grant us grieving space for what's lost and vision for new possibilities. When health limitations change family roles or career paths, reveal the gifts hidden within these unwelcome transitions. When we hesitate to commit to future events for fear of cancellation, show us how to balance reasonable caution with courageous living. May we neither ignore reality nor be imprisoned by it, finding the wisdom to plan appropriately while remaining flexible. God, I pray for the impact of health concerns on my family's social connections. When we need to cancel plans due to symptom flares, preserve friendships despite inconsistent participation. When we can't reciprocate hospitality due to health limitations, help friends understand without taking it personally. When health needs create barriers to church attendance or community involvement, inspire creative alternatives for meaningful connection. When we feel forgotten because our health situation has become old news to others, send reminders of your faithful remembrance. May our health journey deepen rather than diminish our community bonds, revealing the friends who truly walk with us through valleys as well as mountaintops. Lord, I pray for my family's identity beyond health challenges. When medical conditions threaten to become the defining feature of a loved one's life, preserve their sense of self beyond the diagnosis. When health needs dominate family conversations, create space for other topics, interests, and dreams. When achievements are limited by health constraints, help us celebrate different kinds of growth and success. When society defines worth by productivity or ability, anchor us in your valuation that sees each person as infinitely precious regardless of what they can or cannot do. May we remember that we are not primarily patients or caregivers but your beloved children with unique purposes that transcend health status. Jesus, you promised peace that differs from what the world gives. Not the absence of trouble but your presence in the midst of it. When health anxiety threatens to drown me, be my anchor in the storm. When medical uncertainties loom large, be my fixed point of reference. When worst-case scenarios play in my mind like horror movies, interrupt them with visions of your faithfulness. When panic constricts my breathing, breathe your spirit into my lungs. When fear paralyzes me, move through me with your courage. This peace that passes understanding is what I need most. Not necessarily answers to all my questions or resolution to all my problems, but the deep knowing that you are with us and for us, come what may. God, I pray for my response to others' well-intentioned but sometimes hurtful comments about my family's health. When someone suggests we just need more faith to be healed, help me respond with grace rather than defensiveness. When someone minimizes our struggles with platitudes, give me patience. When someone asks intrusive questions, show me how to maintain appropriate boundaries kindly. When someone offers unsolicited advice based on limited understanding, help me filter for anything helpful while releasing the rest. Most of all, guard my heart against bitterness when people disappoint me. They are limited just as I am. You alone are the perfect responder to suffering. Lord, I pray for the seasons when health improves and anxiety begins to subside. Help me recognize and celebrate progress without fear that acknowledging good news will somehow jinx it. When symptoms decrease or function increases, teach me to embrace joy fully in that moment without borrowing trouble from tomorrow. When health stabilizes after a crisis period, help me process the emotional aftermath rather than moving immediately to the next worry. When medical appointments become less frequent, guide me in releasing the hypervigilance that was once necessary. May I learn to hold both realistic caution and genuine hope in proper balance, neither ignoring wisdom nor surrendering to fear. God, I ask you to multiply its impact beyond my family. For everyone watching who relates to these words, who also carries the weight of family health concerns, wrap your loving arms around them right now. Let them know they're not alone in this struggle. If this prayer has touched your heart, please consider liking this video and sharing it with someone else who might need this encouragement today. Our shared experiences and prayers create a community of support that reflects God's love in tangible ways. May we all find strength in knowing others walk similar paths and that you walk each path with us, never leaving us to face these challenges alone.